of one of the most impactful financial books ever written, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This isn't just a book about money, it's a book about the mindset around money. Robert grew up with two father figures, his biological father, whom he calls Poor Dad, and the father of his best friend, Rich Dad. Both were intelligent and hardworking, but they had drastically different views about money, investing, education, and life. Through this contrast, Robert discovered powerful lessons that schools don't teach, but life demands. If you've ever felt stuck in the 9-to-5 grind, overwhelmed by bills, or confused by how the wealthy seem to get richer while others struggle, then this summary is for you. So grab your earphones, relax, and let's explore the timeless wisdom of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The Tale of Two Dads. Robert's poor dad was highly educated. He believed in formal education, job security, and climbing the career ladder. He said things like, go to school, get good grades, and find a secure job. On the other hand, Robert's rich dad, who had very little formal education, believed in financial education, entrepreneurship, and making money work for you. He often said, the rich don't work for money. They make money work for them. This clash of ideas opened Robert's eyes early in life. He learned that being rich isn't just about earning a high salary. It's about how you think about money, how you use money, and whether you let money control you or you control it. This is where the journey begins. Key lesson number 1. The rich don't work for money. When Robert asked Rich Dad how to get rich, the answer shocked him. Don't work for money. At first, this made no sense. Weren't we all told to work hard, save money, and retire? But Rich Dad explained, the middle class and poor work jobs for a paycheck and stay trapped in a cycle of fear and desire. Fear of not having money makes people work hard. Then, once they get a paycheck, the desire for comfort leads them to spend, and the cycle continues. Rich people break free from this loop. They use their minds, assets, and creativity to generate passive income. They buy time and freedom, not just things. The goal isn't to quit working, it's to stop working just for money. Key lesson number 2. Financial literacy is the real education. Schools teach reading, writing, math, and science, but almost nothing about money. Rich Dad taught Robert that understanding money, how it works, how to manage it, and how to make it grow, is the key to financial freedom. It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep, and how well you invest what you keep. The rich focus on building assets. The poor and middle class focus on income. Which brings us to one of the most important lessons in the book. Key lesson number 3. Know the difference between assets and liabilities. Rich Dad defines assets simply, things that put money into your pocket. Liabilities, things that take money out. It's not about accounting jargon, it's about cash flow. For example, a house you live in? Liability. It costs money in maintenance, mortgage, taxes. A rental property that generates monthly income? Asset. Liability. Stocks, real estate, royalties? Assets, if they produce income. The poor and middle class often mistake liabilities for assets. They buy big homes, new cars, and luxury items believing they're building wealth. In reality, they're building debt. The rich? They buy assets first, and let those assets pay for their luxuries later. Key lesson number 4. Work to learn, not to earn. Robert shares how he took low-paying jobs, not for money, but to learn skills. He worked in sales to improve communication. He learned marketing, investing, and business systems. Rich Dad emphasized that the more skills you have, especially in communication, people management, and financial analysis, the more freedom you'll gain. In today's world, specialists may earn a paycheck, but generalists with broad skill sets build empires. Don't ask, how much will I earn? Ask, what will I learn? Key lesson number 5. The power of corporations and taxes. One powerful lesson from Rich Dad was how the wealthy use corporations to protect their money. Most employees earn, get taxed, and then spend what's left. But the wealthy earn through a corporation, spend on expenses pre-tax, and pay taxes on what's left. It's a massive difference. Rich Dad also taught that understanding tax law and debt gives the wealthy a huge advantage. They use debt as leverage, not a trap. While the poor avoid financial tools, the rich master them. Key lesson number 6, confronting fear and taking action. Fear holds most people back. Fear of losing money, fear of looking stupid, fear of failing. But Rich Dad taught Robert that failure is the best teacher. The most successful investors lose money at times, but they learn from it. The poor are paralyzed by fear. The rich are energized by risk, and they manage it through education and experience. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be financially educated and willing to take that first step. Key lesson number 7, mind your own business. Most people work in someone else's business. Rich Dad encouraged Robert to mind his own business, meaning build your own asset base. This could be investing in rental properties, building a side hustle, starting a company, creating intellectual property like books, courses, or content. The goal? To gradually shift from earned income to passive income. Over time, your money starts working for you, and not the other way around. Final thoughts and takeaways. Rich Dad, Poor Dad isn't just about finance, it's about freedom. Here's what you can start doing today. Learn about personal finance, books, podcasts, mentors. Track your spending and understand cash flow. Focus on acquiring income-generating assets. Reduce liabilities and unnecessary expenses. Build skills, not just a resume. Think long-term. Wealth is built over decades, not days. Ultimately, the book invites you to change your mindset. From scarcity to abundance. From employee to owner. From survival to wealth. And the best part? It's never too late to start. Thank you for listening to this summary of Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. If this summary inspired you, share it with a friend or listen again to let the insights sink in. The first step to financial freedom isn't money, it's awareness. Start thinking like Rich Dad and watch your life change.